A bustling Saturday evening enveloped Harmony Hall, an exclusive fine dining venue in Charleston, South Carolina. The dining room gleamed under soft, golden chandeliers, filled with murmurs of polite conversation, clinking glasses, and the occasional ripple of laughter. In one corner, a glossy black grand piano stood silently, more a decorative statement than a source of music. Among the staff, weaving through the labyrinth of linen-draped tables, was Lena, a 24-year-old server with a knack for composure under pressure. Beneath her humble uniform and polite demeanor lay a secret. Lena was a prodigy on the piano, her talent nurtured in the quiet corners of small-town libraries and community halls. Life had placed barriers between her and her passion, and working long shifts at Harmony Hall was a means to an end, saving enough for a shot at a music conservatory. As the evening settled into its rhythm, the restaurant's large oak doors swung open, announcing the arrival of Victor Ashford, a name synonymous with wealth and controversy. Victor, a tech magnate with a penchant for theatrics, strode in with an entourage of equally ostentatious companions. His laughter was loud, his confidence overwhelming, and his reputation for humiliating anyone in his path was well known among the staff. Victor's eyes scanned the room until they landed on Lena. A sly grin crossed his face, and he nudged one of his companions, whispering something that drew chuckles. Lena, focused on clearing a nearby table, didn't notice the exchange. She had dealt with difficult customers before, but Victor was about to take difficult to a new level. As the night unfolded, Lena found herself attending Victor's table. He ordered the most expensive wine with a flippant wave of his hand, his gaze lingering on Lena in a way that made her skin crawl. "What's your name?" he asked casually, though his tone carried a sharp edge. "Lena," she replied, avoiding direct eye contact. She quickly noted their orders and turned to leave, but Victor wasn't done. "Lena," he repeated, drawing out the syllables. "Sounds like someone with hidden talents. Do you sing? Dance? Juggle?" Polite laughter rippled through his group, but Lena only offered a professional smile and excused herself. Victor's interest, however, was piqued. He spent the next hour directing thinly veiled barbs at her, each remark louder and more condescending than the last. Lena bore it with practiced grace, though her clenched jaw betrayed her frustration. Finally, Victor's attention shifted to the silent grand piano. "Tell me, Lena," he said loudly, his voice slicing through the soft murmur of the room. "Do you play? You look like the type who might dabble in the arts." Lena hesitated, caught off guard. "I do, a little," she admitted softly, hoping to downplay her skill. Victor's grin widened. "A little, huh? Why don't you show us? It's right there. Let's see what you've got." The room grew quieter as diners turned to watch the exchange. Lena's heart sank. She wanted nothing more than to disappear, but Victor's mocking tone left her with a choice: refuse and endure further humiliation, or play and risk becoming the evening's spectacle. With a steadying breath, Lena replied, "All right, I'll play." The restaurant fell into a hushed anticipation as Lena approached the piano. The air felt charged, the clinking of silverware replaced by a tense silence. Sitting at the bench, Lena let her fingers rest lightly on the keys. For a moment, she closed her eyes, summoning memories of late-night practice sessions and her mother's encouraging words. "Your music is your strength. Never forget that." She began with a delicate melody, each note soft but purposeful. The piece grew in complexity, her fingers dancing over the keys with precision and emotion. Lena chose an original composition, a blend of classical influence and modern flair. It was a story in sound. Her story, told through crescendos and tender diminuendos. The music seeped into every corner of the room, weaving a spell over the diners. Victor's smug grin faltered as he leaned forward, unable to mask his surprise. The energy in the room shifted. Whispers of awe replaced earlier chuckles, and the once distant Lena now held everyone captive. As the final chord faded into silence, the spell broke. Applause erupted, hesitant at first, but quickly growing into a standing ovation. Lena rose from the bench, her face flushed but her posture poised. She met the gazes of the diners, grateful, but not overwhelmed by their admiration. Victor clapped slowly, the echo of his arrogance dulled by the sincerity of the crowd's response. "Impressive," he said, though his voice lacked its earlier bravado. "I didn't expect that." Lena smiled faintly, her eyes steady as she replied, "It's amazing what people can do when they're given a chance." Her words lingered in the air, a quiet but powerful statement that left Victor visibly unsettled. As Lena wrapped up her shift that night, the grand piano at Harmony Hall still resonated faintly in her ears, as if the instrument itself acknowledged her triumph. The evening's events had unfolded like a surreal dream, one she never anticipated. What began as a quiet night serving tables had transformed into a defining moment, one that peeled back layers of doubt and revealed the unwavering strength she carried inside. Walking home under the soft glow of Charleston's lamplights, Lena replayed the performance in her mind. Each note she had struck was not just music, it was a declaration of resilience, of dreams she had quietly nurtured, and of the fire that no amount of ridicule could extinguish. She smiled, recalling the faces of the diners, their expressions softened with admiration. Even Victor's smug demeanor had cracked, his facade of confidence shaken by the undeniable truth of her talent. But this wasn't the end. It was merely the beginning. The following days brought a flood of conversations and opportunities Lena hadn't expected. Her coworkers couldn't stop talking about the performance, and even the restaurant's management approached her with an unexpected offer to play the piano as part of the restaurant's ambience on select evenings. Though modest, the proposal meant Lena could embrace her music publicly, no longer confined to the hidden hours of solitary practice. More surprising was the effect her performance had on Victor Ashford. A few days after the infamous evening, he returned to Harmony Hall, not with his usual entourage, but alone. He approached Lena with a different energy, one that lacked his earlier arrogance. "I owe you an apology," Victor began, his tone subdued. "I didn't think much of you when I walked in that night, and for that, I was wrong." Lena raised an eyebrow, surprised by his humility. "It's not about what you thought," she said simply. "It's about what you do once you know better." Victor nodded, acknowledging her point. "I suppose so. Your music, it's something special. If you ever want to take it further, let me know. I might know a few people who can help." Lena thanked him, but made no promises. She had learned that offers from people like Victor often came with strings attached. Still, she appreciated the gesture, an acknowledgement that her performance had left an indelible mark on someone who once underestimated her. On her next day off, Lena visited her childhood home, a small bungalow nestled in a quiet South Carolina town. She walked through the familiar streets, past the church where she once played, and toward the modest house where an out-of-tune piano had been her sanctuary. Her mother greeted her with a warm hug, her face lighting up when Lena recounted the story of her performance. "I knew you had it in you," her mother said, her voice full of pride. "You just needed the right moment to show the world." They sat together at the old piano, its keys yellowed with age, but still capable of carrying melodies. Lena played for her mother, a soulful tune that spoke of gratitude and determination. As the music filled the room, it felt as though the walls themselves were listening, bearing witness to her journey. News of Lena's performance spread beyond Harmony Hall. A local journalist who had dined at the restaurant that night wrote an article about her, calling her a hidden gem with a symphony waiting to be heard. The piece caught the attention of a regional talent agency, and within weeks, Lena was invited to audition for a spot in a music mentorship program. The audition was held in a modest studio, far from the grandeur of Harmony Hall's dining room, but Lena felt at ease. She played the same piece that had captivated the diners, a personal composition infused with raw emotion. When she finished, the panel of judges sat in silence, their expressions reflective. "Lena," one of them finally said, "your music is more than skill, it's storytelling. We'd like to offer you a place in our program." Her hands trembled as she accepted the offer, a flood of emotions washing over her. This was the validation she had been waiting for, not from Victor or the diners, but from people who truly understood the language of music.